That's not bad at
It's a
all.
dollar beer.
What's up?
Dollar and change a beer.
Yeah, and it's a good IPA.
Yeah. What is up? What's up, guys? This is Mark with Mike, and this is another The Game of Rage podcast by Recycling Inc. I'm Mark with Mike. I'm joined by Tenacious T.
I am in the building.
We are back
What's
with
up,
Game
y'all?
of Rage. Like all of Game of Rage podcasts, we are gonna kick it off with the last podcast challenge.
So if this is your first time tuning in, what we do through every podcast is at the end of every podcast, we give each other a monthly challenge to complete, throughout the month. It's not necessarily all the time to stump each other, even though it can be that. It's just more of going back and then reappreciating games or playing games for the first time.
Yeah.
Type of stuff. So just to give you a little background on that if this is your first time.
Yeah, if you this is the first time, the challenges that we had before, my challenges were Sonic Spinball, Paper Boys, Comic Zone, and Batman NES. Yours was Mario 2, Spider-Man and the X-Men, Darkwing Duck, and Super Mario World.
And shall we tell the tally of completed and not completed?
I've finished all four of mine.
I hate you. You're a piece of shit. Nah, I love you. Yeah, no, I am,
You're 2 and 2.
I didn't disclose to everybody that I completed this challenge this month.
All right, so there you go.
But now, spoiler alert, I am 2 for 2 currently. So let's go into the challenges. So you got challenged with Batman NES.
Yes.
And you said you completed it. So what was your take on this game? I know you played it back in the day, so this was like a revisitation of the game.
So, Batman NES is a game that is one of my favorite NES games of when I was a kid. I beat it as a kid. I remember a lot of this is the thing, especially going back to a lot of these games, is that I remember a lot of the things that I have played before. I'm pretty good at remembering the thing. So, especially with Batman, I remember the patterns. I remember how to jump. I remember how to do this. So once I start flowing with it, it all comes back. And I remember the patterns. I remember what I had to do, how things are run. I feel the same way with Mario. Mario, I remember every little nook and cranny of the game. I'm surprised. I don't remember shit that I did last week, but I remember every fucking little tunnel in fucking Mario World.
Well,
so,
that's our youth singing. You know what I mean?
So the Batman's the same thing. Batman is probably considered one of the hardest NES games, but this is a game that I played so many times as a Ninja Gaiden that I could flow through it in one sitting. Like I could really go into it in one sitting. The only time I really have issues with the Batman game was the Clock Tower, which is the final stage, because there's a lot of tedious jumps, and a lot of them are further than what you're supposed to be able to jump about. So you have to kind of adjust yourself to jump a certain way. Other than that, the game is fantastic. It's probably one of the best NES games.
I just couldn't stand the loading screen for it. The sound, it was just a horrible buzzing. Because what I decided to do myself today while I was waiting to do all these podcasts I dove down into Batman NES myself because I wanted to come at you like, hey, I did. I'm not gonna throw something out there that I wouldn't try and do myself. You know what I mean? So I went through it, and I didn't play it too much as a kid, so I wasn't savvy like you were.
Yeah.
But you can get used to it.
Yeah.
And you sort of figure out things the hard way. Like I didn't learn until the second level, like the second board.
Yeah.
About the bouncing on the walls and clinging onto the walls. I didn't know anything about that until I died a bunch of times. I'm like, how the fuck do I get through this area?
That's a key fucking feature in that game that you need to know.
As you go further and further, like in the first world, you didn't need it at all. You know what I mean? Like you can go through it. Your main thing was learning in the first world of how to shoot and how to time to hit the guy with the flamethrower and the guy that shoots and the things that run on the floor. You know what I mean? Like You learn that, and then in the second world, you learn about the bouncing and gripping on the walls.
Yeah.
So what happened to me today is I got about probably 3/4 of the way through the game. I died a bunch of times, a bunch of continues. I'm not ashamed of it because it makes you a better player. But I had my NES sitting on the floor.
Yeah.
And I kicked it 3/4 of the way through the game.
See, he says it like, oh, I died. I'm not ashamed of it like that. But naturally, his body's like, fuck you.
Yeah. Well, you've seen me play before. Actually, no, I was actually very calm with this because it's like I was learning it. Yeah. I wasn't frustrated because frustrating is not going to help me learn it.
No.
In games that I feel like I should be good at, that I fucking do stupid mistakes, that's when I get really flustered.
Yeah.
Which is probably a lot.
But
with this is like, I got, like I said, 3/4 of the way through and I kicked it and it froze, and I was so pissed and I was gonna go back to it. I said, screw that. I just gave up on it. But I wanted to surprise you and show you that I did it as well. You know what I mean? But
no, it's a fun game. It's a good game. It's for its time. It was like the only like good superhero game. There was a lot of bad ones. So it was a good game for its time. I kind of want to play the sequel, but it's too fucking expensive because I was actually gonna go try to find it and play that one too. The Batman Return of the Joker. That one I was interested in playing as well. I was going to do both for the challenge.
If you wanted to do the sequel, you'd have to do Batman Returns.
No, it's Batman Return of the Joker. That was the sequel to the game.
Okay, but the next Batman game was Batman.
Yeah, that's on
Returns.
Super Nintendo. That one I could beat easily. Like that game plays like Final Fight, and I was really good with that game.
I have Final Fight. It's awesome.
Yeah. So it plays just like Final, because Capcom made that game.
Yeah.
But
I could always go to Game On, and I could probably try and see if Tristan will give us a good deal on it.
Yeah, because that one I was interested in playing.
If I tell him it's for this cast, I'm pretty sure he'll probably drop like 15-20% off.
Yeah, so I'll see if I could get the sequel. But for the Batman itself, like I completely forgot that this was a movie-based game. So basically, it was a lot of the stuff from the movie in this game. So like a lot of the little cutscenes, the pictures were from the movie.
I was just gonna say that. Like, I really liked the scenes with the Batmobile going and the tops coming off and the guns coming up and swooping through the door and stuff like that. It was really cool. It was for its time. Obviously, graphics wise, we're spoiled nowadays with amazing graphics. That any kid that would go back and look at it, they'd be like, "This game is trash."
You know what's funny?
You know what I mean?
There's a NECA. I think NECA did it, or it was a DC Select that did it. The Batman video game version of the Batman. I think they did a pop of it too. I kind of want the figure now. It's like the video game colors.
Going down the rabbit hole of that.
Probably. I probably won't get it, but it's something I was interested. If it happens,
we're collecting enough shit, man.
Yeah. But if it happens to come about, I'll probably pick it up. I'll probably buy it. If like I happen to see it and it's like, oh shit, it's not that bright, I'll buy it. But the game is fun. The ending was pretty much the ending of Batman the movie, '89 movie. Pretty much, he even says you dance with the devil and the pale blue night, and he did all that shit. And then he pretty much he falls out the building, and you see him on the floor laughing, and that's pretty much how it ends. That's pretty much how the movie ends, how the game ends, and it was actually pretty cool. Like, I actually dunked the game. It's a hard game. It's not for everyone. Like, you need to learn the mechanics. You need to learn the patterns. You need to learn a lot of the things. These are the things that I just like freakishly it's stuck in my head. So once I started flowing through the game, I knew everything I had to do. It was a fun game. I actually really enjoyed it. I beat it in maybe a good 4 hours.
It took me about 2.5 hours.
But that's me pausing.
It took me about an hour. That took me about an hour to like flow through the game and learn it.
Yeah.
And then it took me like an hour and a half to get about 3/4 of the way.
Yeah.
Because I did look up how long the game is.
Yeah.
And you can technically beat the game in 28 minutes if you do it flawlessly.
Yeah. I was pausing.
You know what I mean?
I was pausing, getting a beer, pausing, eating something.
Yeah, no, you were enjoying the experience, bro.
So
you know
I enjoyed myself playing it.
Because you know damn well if you were a kid playing it with somebody else, when you died, you passed the controller.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I didn't die too many times. I died maybe 3 or 4 times. No, most I died it was in the clock tower. I probably died like maybe 5 to close to 5 to 10 times. I don't recall like the exact amount, but I did not die a lot in the beginning because I kind of remembered a lot of those things and kind of remember a lot of the patterns. It's just that fucking clock tower is a bitch.
Yeah. I feel you, man. I feel you.
So now yours.
So yeah, so my challenge of the month was Super Mario World, which I'm happy that you gave me that because same thing with the first challenge of this cast, which was Mario 2. I never really completed it. Like Mario 2, I played consistently throughout the years and just never beat it. Never like. It's not that I couldn't beat it. It's just that something happened where I just stopped playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And with Super Mario World, I played it a little bit here and there. I just never really gave it a chance. I just never cared about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was looking it up. It is actually stated as the greatest video game ever, which bothers me for some reason because Mario 3 is such a better game than this. But that's my opinion, of course. But like in IGN. Like the 100 best greatest video games ever, it's ranked number 1.
Yeah.
So, I to say the least, this game frustrated the shit out of me. You were there for a lot of it, and I thank you because you didn't have to do any of what you did, but you did school me on the things that I wouldn't have known. Because now the challenge was not only just to beat the game. Yeah, I could beat the game. I can flow through it. I can get it done. But the challenging part was to get all 96 exits, to get the star 96, which is 100% complete for everybody out there. I posted this as soon as I was finished with it, and everybody's like, "No, you didn't 100% it. You 96% of it." I was like, "No, you're an idiot. It's 96 is how many exits the game is." So the mixture between the Star World and everything like that, you know. The game was fairly, I wouldn't say easy because it's not, but the boards were accomplishable, easier than the really hard ones. Now, there's like a handful of really, 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 really hard boards that is so frustrating. It's like Tubular. There's another one I forget what it is. There's 2 in the Star World alone.
The special.
Now. Yes, the special.
The whole special could be a bitch.
Now, without your help, I would have just continued and continued and continued because you know what I mean? Like, you showed me that there is so much more than just the board to it. Like, there's secret passageways and stuff like that you need to go to make the game easier. Like, there's that one where you can just go in and you can get a Yoshi, and then you can just tally up lives and stock up on, you can become, the flying one, stuff like that. Which it isn't like the raccoon tail or anything like that. Yeah. It's more of a floating cape.
It's a cape.
So with that, you know what I mean, that made things easier. And then, as time went by, I was just playing it without trying to cheeseball it at all. And then I really, because in the beginning, you told me that I didn't have to get it done in a month.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get it done in the month. And I'm happy I got it done in a month. But about 3/4 of the way through the game, once I got up to the 6th world, when things started getting really tough, it's like I needed to start learning the basics again. Like I never used the Yoshis. I never used the cape where you can float over the entire shit. Because I just thought that was cheeseball. But at the same time, if the game provides it, you are allowed to use it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not technically cheating. But the cheating aspect, I did cheat my ass through this way, cheat throughout this whole game because I YouTubed a lot of stuff. And to see how other people do it. Now, don't get me wrong, their method might not work for me. You know what I mean? They just show you how it is possible to get through the game.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of that. I died probably hundreds of times. Probably 100 times on Tubular alone. And Tubular is probably the worst board in the entire game.
Yeah.
Because you have to float and hit things and catch the floating thing again and then float over and not get hit with this and not get hit with that. And then get to the next box before your floating thing goes out. just to get the next one to float. Oh my god, it was so frustrating. It really was. Believe it or not, I thought the last Bowser was easy. I thought all the Bowsers.
The bosses were pretty simple. They're just like timing efforts in it like that.
You know what I mean? Like the one with the rhinos on the pinwheel and stuff like that. Like that was easy, cut and dry. I would one take that like it's nothing. You know what I mean? Certain little Bowsers and stuff like that, they got a little complicated, but you get the pattern. You see what happens. They give you little hints to things. You know what I mean? The last Bowser took me a little bit, but honestly, it was not hard at all.
Okay.
Overall, I thought the game was awesome. It is definitely a Mario game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like old school Mario. You know what I mean? I feel like this was the last Mario before it started branching off into like the worlds of what we're in now, like Mario 64, Galaxy.
Yeah, this was the last
Paper
2D.
Mario Maker, Luigi stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, technically, this was the last Mario 2D game because you had Mario RPG, which was kind of like a weird 3D, and then you also had Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, which Mario was not even in it. Mario wasn't playable in it.
What you call it? This game is what ushered Yoshi into it.
Yes, the first appearance.
So, and each Yoshi in this had a different attribute, which I only really used the purple one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to help me play, because eventually I just got so frustrated. and you saw it, but seriously, if you did not have like the Nintendo magazine back in the day, or you just accidentally find things out, bro, like to 100% this game, you really have to like have like a knack for it. You know what I mean? Like you have to. Like if it wasn't for your assistance, I definitely give you credit for guiding me in the beginning, and then you left me by myself. You're like, no, this is your challenge, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I gave you like a useful tool, because that secret world that you could easily get like the power ups is the most useful thing in the game.
Yeah.
Because that helps you just get shit up. You have to walk there and do it, but honestly, you could farm free men from that. You could actually like just get all your shit together, and you can farm free men off of that and all that shit too. So that's one of the things that most people do not know about that ghost house. And if you have not played Mario before, you have no clue if that exists. So that's something I kind of had to show you, just the fact that it is something that it's very useful, and that honestly you probably used it through the whole time.
Oh yeah, definitely did.
And then the switches. The switches are something that you need. Like you need that to complete the game.
Yeah.
So
I have a little like really one gripe with it. I wish that it still had like the folder from Mario 3.
Oh, like the power ups.
Yeah, so you can do that before each floor, before each board. Instead, when I die, I have to go and use all the tunnels to go all the way back to that. You know what I mean? Like, that was the tedious part about it. That's what made me want to pull my fucking hair out. You know what I mean? It's just like I die, and then I have to waste time to go back, and then go back to this, and then I just die.
But then die. But you could also find if you knew a stage that had a leaf in the beginning of the stage, all you have to do is go into that stage, get the leaf, and then start select.
I did that with the and another useful tool was after you completed the board.
Yeah.
Now a lot of boards had exits. You know what I mean? And the main focus is to 100% the game. And to 100% the game, you have to find every single exit.
Yeah.
So as long as you get through one of those exits, whatever board it is, when you start the level, you can press start and select and go back before dying. So that is a useful tool in order to get this game done.
Yeah.
I am very grateful that I bought it on my my DS, because I would have never been able to beat this game in a month if I was playing it. Which I have the game. I have the physical copy of the game for Super Nintendo. But I would have never, ever in a million years been able to accomplish getting all 96. And at the the part that really upsetted me is when I beat the game and I realized I only had 94.
Yeah.
So I had to go back and try and figure out which boards I missed something.
Yeah.
And it didn't take me too long. It took me like an hour or two, but you know what I mean? Just the fact that I beat the game and then went back to do it, like that was tedious. But overall, the game was awesome. It's everything you really want in like a Mario world. I just wish the folder was there.
Yeah.
The Yoshi, the tools that they give you to beat the game. It's important to actually use them. Because the majority of the game I didn't use them and I beat it the hard way. You know what I mean? But it was. I'm very grateful that you gave me this, because now it took me 29, 30 years and I finally beat Super Mario World.
Nice. So Super Mario World, yeah, that was a fun game. You know, it's funny, and shouts out to our coworker Alvin. It got him to play it. Yeah, he started playing it as well. He started playing along with you. I actually played. I was messing around with it too, just to remember and just feel the game again, because it's on the Switch as well. I was actually honestly when I gave you Mario World, I started replaying Mario 3. So it was fun, and I love Mario 3. Mario 3 is probably my favorite one. Mario 3 is my favorite
game of all time.
But I think that's more a nostalgic factor too. Like that. I'm very biased of that game.
Yeah, like you can't argue with me over that. You know what I mean? Like you could talk all day till your face turns blue. Nothing is gonna change my perspective.
But Mario World 2, Super Mario World is a strong number 2.
Oh, it definitely is. It also had some nods to the older Marios too, like when you went into the final Bowser on the 7th world. Now there's 7 worlds, not 8 worlds in this. Which threw me off a little bit, because I was like, yo, Mario's always been 8 worlds. You know what I mean? So, they had those dragons that were in the beginning, were like the Bowsers at the end of each one in Mario. Yeah. The original Mario. They had that, which was cool. It was like a little nod to that. So, like, it gave you little hints of like the old stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like a mixture. There wasn't so much of number 2, but it was like number 3 and number 1 mixed together. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was longer, and it was you had to be more strategic. You know what I mean? Like everything else is cut and dry in the Mario. You know what you're getting in those games. Yeah. I didn't know what I was getting going through this. So okay. So it definitely was a challenge, and I'm very, very happy that I completed it. So
this is a good spin-off to our next topic. Will be the system respect, the one that we always highlight one system each cast until we run out of them, and then we'll think other things. But for now, today's cast will be for the SNES, which, talking about Super Mario Brothers, was the first game on the SNES.
Yes, it was. Super NES is probably, besides Nintendo 64, my most played console. Okay. When I got the Super Nintendo, it was, I used to play it at other people's houses all day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like my friend Doug, rest in peace to Doug. I used to go to his house and we would just play like RBI baseball and like, a whole bunch of stuff, Turtles in Time. But we'll talk about the games in a little bit. But this had most hours played besides N64, because N64 was actually a console that I owned as a child when it came out. Yeah. My first console that was absolutely mine, and which I still have today. But I have so many memories and so much love for the Super Nintendo. Like, it's definitely up there as one of my favorite consoles. It's such a good console. It really is. It looks cool. It's nice. And I was always wowed by it. You know what I mean? When I saw it, the quality of games was always good. Yeah. So.
I do not have much of a childhood memory with the SNES because I was a Sega Genesis owner. I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I didn't get Super Nintendo until I got older. When I actually got in high school, I actually wound up buying one just to play. Honestly, I bought one to play Saturday Night Slam Masters.
Okay.
Just because that was one game I heard so much about, that it was like Street Fighter and wrestling together, and I was like, I gotta play that game. So I remember getting.
Yeah, I mean that combination just sounds awesome. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
so I remember that was the big reason why I bought this, and then I found out later on that it was on the Sega Genesis as well, and then it was like, damn, I could have just got it on the Sega Genesis. Anyway, but Saturday Night Nightmares was one of the first games I played on the SNES, besides Super Mario World, because I did play Super Mario World at my friend's house and things like that. But I didn't own a Super Nintendo till later on, though.
Same thing with me. My friend Mike and Lindsay, they were my next door neighbors for years. Lindsay, his wife, had one sitting in the attic of her parents' house.
Yeah.
And because what I used to do is when I was a kid, I used to be part of a youth council.
Okay.
Like I didn't really do too much stuff. If like my friends were busy, I would go to the youth council outside the middle school, and it would be like this trailer that was outside where kids go after school.
Yeah.
To like you play pool and you play video games, you get snacks, and it's like something to do when like if your parents still working and you can't go home kind of thing. So I would go there, and it would just be me by myself because not too many people went when I started going there. I felt like I was one of the originals of this place. It would just be me all day playing Mario All-Stars and playing Mario 3. That's all I played. I didn't care about Mario 1. I didn't care about Mario 2. I just played Mario 3, eating Wheat Thins and drinking Hawaiian Punch all day. I miss those days, man. Those were like that was like the youth. But growing up, I never had this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it was such a privilege and an honor to go someplace, but it was also a tease because I never got to finish anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why Super Mario World and Mario 2 I never got to complete because I didn't have it. So.
Yeah, same here. So this was not a childhood console, but I have respect for the console itself because I did play a lot of these games. And then also when the Game Boy Advance came out, and like the DS and the DS the 3DS came out, a lot of the SNES titles were available to buy or even play on those consoles. So a lot of the experience I got from a lot of the games on Super NES, I got from playing on the 3DS or playing on the Switch right now, or even playing on or even when I went to my friend's house or when I went to my cousin's house, they had Super Nintendo, so I would play it there. But the game that really like triggered me to fall in love with the SNES was Turtles in Time. Turtles in Time was by far, even this content might not be everyone's favorite, but it's my favorite. It was better. I honestly would say it was better than the arcade because you had more of the cartoon characters inside that game. As in the arcade, you didn't get you didn't get Rat King, you didn't get Slash, you didn't get Bebop and Rocksteady in the arcade machine. You only got that on SNES. So that was the big difference, and reason why I love that game so much.
That game I have so much memories for because now my friend Mac, he's one of my best friends in life. We make music together. We've been rocking out. Now we never really hung out as kids. We hung out when we got into college.
Yeah.
But we knew each other in high school and stuff like that. And we had a mutual friend named Doug. And he passed away a couple years ago. But I remember specifically, and me and him talk about this all the time, is like the first time that we ever hung out was at his house at his birthday party.
Okay.
And me and him just sat in his bedroom while the whole party was outside, and we would not leave until we beat Turtles in Time.
Yeah.
So like that is our ongoing, that is our thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we sat there and we missed my friend's birthday party so we could sit in his bedroom and play Turtles in Time. Because there's nothing wrong with that game. The only thing that I can say about that game is it's extremely hard to play it by yourself. You need somebody with you to beat that game, bro.
I've beaten it by
I've tried so. Yeah, well, you're a freak of fucking nature. You're different. Me being a button pusher my whole life. You know what I mean? Which I'm not proud to say, but I am. I've gotten better. Like I felt like the Batman games, the nowadays Batman games, kind of calmed me down a little bit because you have to do combos and stuff like that.
Yeah, you gotta
but
be
back
patient.
in the day, it was just punching buttons all day. So like with Turtles in Time, like I would maybe get to like Slash's stage.
Oh, the cave, prehistoric
and then I die.
Turtlesaurus.
That, or I would get to like Bebop and Rocksteady on the train.
No, they were on the pirate ship.
Oh, the Gator.
The Gator was on the train. Yeah.
And I would die. And I would die in that. Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of definitely the hands down. Besides Mario All Stars.
Yeah.
Right. It was Turtles in Time.
Yep.
That defined the NES to me.
Super NES, I'll say the console itself is known for its Japanese RPGs. This is probably one of the strongest. This is probably the system that has the strongest history with JRPGs, and that's like Final Fantasy, Chrono Trigger, Legacy of Gaia, and things like that. They has like some of the best of those games. Those are the few first Japanese RPGs I ever played in my life as well.
What I loved about the Super NES is that you also had a crossover from Sega. You got to play Mortal Kombat on it. You got to play Street Fighter.
Yeah.
On the NES, the Super NES.
Actually, you got to play Street Fighter 2 first on SNES. Street Fighter.
Yeah, but I only ever played it on Sega.
Well, it first came out on Super Nintendo. The first Street Fighter 2 first came out on Super Nintendo. Then Sega Genesis got the Championship Edition, and then Super Nintendo got the Hyper Turbo Edition, whatever the fuck it called it, Hyper Turbo something. So yeah, you got Street Fighter first on Super Nintendo. Mortal Kombat came out on both systems, but the Sega Genesis one was slightly better because it had blood, and you didn't get blood in Super Nintendo.
Yeah, well, Nintendo's
you got
family,
sweat.
You know? Sega was like the rebels at the time.
Yeah.
You know, they were the teenagers.
Yeah.
When like Nintendo was like the adult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it still is today. You know, it still has that vibe today. It's very
Sega
adulty.
still, but you actually see Sega games on Nintendo now. That's the difference.
But definitely, hands down, it's my second favorite console ever. It's my most timed, console. I think put a lot of hours.
I think if I had one as a kid, I'll love the console a lot more. I do love the console. I understand what it meant to a lot of people.
This is adult hours I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I got the console. I got the console when I was 21.
Yeah, so
I would invite people over for a Super Nintendo night.
Yeah, I enjoyed a lot of the games. My only gripe with the Turtles in Time, it wasn't 4 players. But then again, I knew for a fact Super Nintendo couldn't handle the 4-player. So I'd rather have it with extra stages than them forcing 4 players, and it ran really slow.
Oh my god, I used to get so pissed off when somebody would fucking eat the pizza on me, and I'm like, bro, you got 2 continues left. You got lives, like you're just letting me go, my bad. Like no, or like. When you grab the pizza box that makes you spin, and you prematurely do it when you could have just wiped out a whole wave, like 2 waves of like foot soldiers and shit like that. Like you are such a rookie at this shit. You know, I take pride in that game.
Yeah, because I remember doing the arcade one. That's how we strategized. Whoever had the lowest energy, they got the pizza. Like it doesn't matter who it is.
The name of the game is to make it to the end.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You can't
finish it.
Me, I could never do it by myself, so I always needed somebody.
Yeah. All right, so what are your top 5 Super Nintendo games?
Oh man, definitely Mario All Stars. Turtles in Time.
Before you go to Mario All Stars, Mario All Stars was the first remaster ever.
It definitely is because it's completely different. I mean, the games are the same, but they are reamped and look different. I actually prefer the original versions over the remaster.
I actually like the remastered Super Mario 3 just because I like the color scheme.
I just like the convenience of all 3 games being there.
That's it. You know what I mean? 4 games anyway. Actually, I have the Mario All Stars with Mario Worlds. I have all 5 games in it.
And you have the option to save where you're at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in Mario, when you die and you run out of your continue, you're done.
Yeah.
You're not going back. You're not punching in a code. You're not doing any of that. But yes, so Mario All Stars, Turtles in Time. I would say Super KO Boxing.
Okay, that's a good one.
I love that game, which is sort of a bite off of Mike Tyson. It's the same game, but it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a Mike Tyson game. It's not Punch Out. It's Super KO boxing. But it's the same format, the same dude, the same coach. You know what I mean? It's just got some crazy characters. I actually never beat that game either. I've gotten very close to it. But that I would also say the first Doom came out on it, so I'll give a nod to that. It might not be my top.
Yeah.
But I can go for days on like the games itself. But I really enjoyed Aladdin.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think Aladdin was a great game on it, and damn, I'm trying to go through in my head what games was there. Damn, I should have thought about this more. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed Pilot Wings. I'm corny like that. I like little flying simulating games.
Yeah.
Pilot Wings was fun. I mean, and like just the fact that you can do Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat.
Okay.
You know, I can talk about other games. Like the most impossible game to fucking play is The Lion King.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The game is legitimately one of the hardest games ever.
Yeah, it is. My 5 is Super Mario World. That'll be my number 1. Trails in Time will be my number 2. Super Metroid will be my number 3.
I actually never played it on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah. Chronos Trigger was probably one of the first Japanese RPG games I actually really love, and that was the first Super Nintendo game RPG I ever played. I love that game. And number 5 will be Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. That was actually the first Zelda game I finished by myself, and then I actually went back and played the originals and stuff like that. But that was the first one I actually fully finished. I will shout out. I'll shout out again another game that I spent a lot of time on, which was Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2, and Mega Man X.
Okay, right. I am right now. I'm looking at my games.
Yeah.
Right. So I literally have so many Super Nintendo games.
Yeah.
But what I do have here to show it off. This is actually your game, I think, the Justice League. The Justice League for Super Nintendo.
No, that's yours.
Mortal Kombat. That is mine. Spider-Man vs. X-Men, which check our previous cast. I talked about that.
Yeah.
I actually didn't really like this version of it, so I bought the Sega version of it, and I lost in both. Mario All-Stars. This was the first Mario Kart.
Yeah. I didn't
I got Judge Dredd, which I can't stand. I hate that game with a passion. The game is so dumb. But they had the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game, Jurassic Park, Aladdin, all the Super Star Wars games were hard.
Yeah, they were.
They were fun. I enjoyed it very much. Donkey Kong Country, Pilot Wings, Turtles in Time, Super Punch Out, Final Fight. I had so much fun playing. Star Fox, the original Star Fox, and you also got some wrestling games. I got WWF Raw.
Yeah.
In here.
Cool.
As well. So, I mean, yeah, it's not bad. I also got the Hunt for Red October, which I've actually never played. I just have it.
They just made games for anything back then.
But you know, like the Jurassic Park, they also have that for Sega.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it was cool that.
It's two different games.
Doom, and you can't miss Doom because it's a red cartridge.
Yeah.
So those are all of the Super Nintendo ones.
There was 2 games that had Maximum Carnage had a red cartridge too.
Yes, I actually have Maximum Carnage somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh no, I have that for Sega.
Yeah.
I have that for Sega.
All right. So that's our Super Nintendo love.
Hell yeah, man! I'm so happy we did it. We fixate a lot on the old school Nintendo, but Nintendo is just,
yeah,
they've been running around forever. How can you go wrong?
All right, so next is our segment of games that paved the way. Last week you started it with Doom. I had Batman Arkham Asylum. This week I'll start with mine. Will be Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid, the original one?
The Metal Gear Solid for PS1.
Okay, because the only one that I ever really cared about was Metal Gear Solid 2. That's the only one that I actually ever played.
The best.
And that was for PS2.
So the one I played was Metal Gear Solid 1. That was the one that kind of introduced me into stealth action games. It showed me that a video game can be a movie as well. It could have such a crazy ass story and get you dragged into. It can have beautiful cutscenes.
I love that you said that. Love that you said that.
Yeah, and that's something that I loved about Metal Gear Solid 1. Metal Gear Solid 2, not get me wrong, I love that game as well. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, but Metal Gear Solid 1 is the one that started it all for me. And for the fact that there was a lot of strategies to do certain things in certain parts, as you could duck under, you could hide under a cardboard box to fucking go and you break someone's neck or fucking shoot them in the head and things like that. Those games are amazing. Those things are so fully detailed and things like that that I appreciate that game a lot. And that was one of the few games that, to this day, if they do remakes of them, I always pick them up, always replay them.
Yeah. And which they have been doing a lot of these days, and been doing it successfesssually, might I add. I've never played the first one. I only played the second one.
If I would tell you to play the first, Metal Gear Solid 1, I would say if you have a GameCube, try to find Twin Snakes, because that was a updated version of the original one. Because the PS1 one is like nowadays it's harder to look at. It's not the prettiest game, but back then that was the shit. So, but GameCube did a good job in remastering it.
That's what's up.
But there's also rumors of PS5 doing a full remastered of Metal Gear Solid 1 as well. So, on a PS5, so that game is gonna be fucking outstanding if they do that.
Well, it'll definitely sell.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that PS5.
So yeah, Metal Gear Solid would be my games that paved the way.
It's not a bad choice at all, my man. Now, when you mentioned that a game could be like a movie.
Yeah.
Right. Is exactly what I was going for this game. The game of my showcase for this month is Alan Wake for Xbox 360.
That's a pretty dope game too. I respect that. And
the reason why it was the first, besides like Resident Evil and stuff like that. Now Resident Evil is like it's a horror game, but it didn't give me that movie feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Alan Wake was like a game that wowed me when it first came out, and then I played it. I beat the game in 3 days. Now, I am not a heavy gamer like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm really not. I appreciate it to death. I've been diving into it more and more as time goes by. But Alan Wake was one of the first games that really had me from like beginning to end. And it got really dark and really witchy and really evil and really like cinematically nice. You know what I mean? Like I really thoroughly enjoyed that game where you're a detective trying to figure out what happened and there's like parallel ghost stuff and manipulating time. Bro, it was just so good. And on the Xbox 360, you cannot deny that console. That console had just such amazing games.
Yeah.
And Alan Wake was it definitely did it for me. You know what I mean? Like I want them to remake it. I would love for, which I think they are. I heard something about it. The last game that I played, Quantum Break, was made by the same people.
Yeah.
And they actually give a nod to Alan Wake in the game. You know what I mean?
There's a game that's out now that's gonna have Control is gonna have a DLC of a Alan Wake kind of thing going on. They did the game Control, so that's the thing I think you heard recently of. I also heard that Series X is planning to do a Alan Wake game. They didn't mention if it's a remake or if it's a brand new game or anything like that.
Well, I wouldn't mind the number 2.
No, I wouldn't
that game deserved the number 2.
Yeah, it did. And
you know what I mean? But that's my game. It's just for story, movie, cinematicness.
Yeah.
I thought it was so on point. That game had me wowed, and I blew right through it. I really did. It was such a good time.
No, that was good.
So everybody go and check that game out if you guys have not played that.
If you have Xbox Game Pass, is on there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which I don't.
Yeah. $15 a month, and you get all like 1,000 free games.
I got too much subscriptions.
Yeah.
I know. I know you do.
Yeah, way too many. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. All right, so
I was gonna do something else, but I'm gonna save that for a later episode.
Okay.
Because I mean, I can say it. It really doesn't matter. I was gonna go BioShock.
Okay.
Because BioShock was sort of the same thing. BioShock wowed me too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, but Alan Wake, I had to, because I wanted to go story. I wanted to go like suspense, horror.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it really sinks you in. You're like, you become part of the story. You want to know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
So that is my respectful game of the month.
Okay. So now our favorite segment, the challenge.
The final segment. The final segment of the hour.
Yeah. The challenge.
The challenge. You want yours? Or do you?
You can go first.
Mine? All right. Now, I wanted to give you a game. Well, I'm going to give you two games, but I'm pretty sure I knew the answer to this. But I wanted you to just go back and just have fun. You know what I mean? I just want you to enjoy, be carefree, go back to your roots. I'm not roots as a kid, but you know, just the things that you love. So my main one, which I'm pretty sure that you'll take, is I want you to go back, because I know you just recently bought one. I want you to go back to No Mercy.
Okay.
But I want you to 100% the World Wrestling Federation Championship.
Okay.
And I want you to 100% another one of your choosing.
Okay.
All right, because I know it's time consuming and it takes a lot, but you just recently bought an N64.
Yeah,
and I want you to use it.
Okay.
Exactly. I want you to use it.
Okay.
And what better game than No Mercy?
Yeah. All right. I could dig
Because
that.
I already know you're gonna do it. I know you're gonna pass it, but I just want you to have fun.
Okay.
I want you to go back and just whoop some ass and enjoy it. Now, that was one, and then the other game, which is also an N64 game, I wanted you, in honor of our Not a Trekkie podcast, to go and play Empire Strikes Back. Not Empire Strikes Back, Shadow of the Empire.
Shadow of the Empire.
For N64.
Do you own it?
Yes, I do own it. I own both games.
I think I would go with No Mercy just because I've been meaning to play it.
Exactly. See, like it's not about stuff that you made. It's about that smile that I see on this screen right now. Like you're excited. Now you have a reason to open up that N64 and play it on your big screen TV, and just pick whoever you want. But you have to 100%
the world title. Okay.
The world title, and 100% any one title after that.
Okay.
I mean, me personally, I would go hardcore, because this game is the first game where you can go in the back and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you do hardcore?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I may do the IC
title, but the choosing is yours. But you have to do 100% Bolt, and you have to do the world title.
Okay. Gotcha. So
you're welcome.
So I feel bad now.
You're always trying to fuck with me, man.
No, I'm not trying to fuck with you. I'm trying to give you some classics that you never played to finish.
No, that's fine. Listen, man, I'm about it. It's just the availability.
Yeah, that's what I think about too. If it's available on the Switch or is available on the DS, and I think this game is available on the DS, that you could actually get on the DS. One of them is Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. This one is just to beat the game. It's not going to be 100%ing anything or anything like that. It's just beat the game. Yeah, this one, it was going to be that one. Just because I gave you the first Mario, I kind of wanted you to finish up the Marios, the 2D Marios. So this was be considered one. The other one is Donkey Kong Country.
I hate Donkey Kong games. I've never been a fan of it.
And then my third one is Mega Man X.
Wow. Wow, that. I've always wanted to play Mega Man X. I've played it a couple times. I've never beat it. Super Mario World 2 is very tempting as well, because I just went through it. But the frustration that I had going through Super Mario World, I think I want to take a break from Mario, and I think I would do Mega Man X. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm in store for.
Yeah.
But as long as I can get it on my DS, I will play the game.
So that one you could get the same way you got Super Mario World on your DS.
Okay.
So you could do
I'll buy that shit right now.
I think Mega Man X is available on there like that as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I know they did.
How bad do you want me to do the Super Mario? Because I'll do it if you really want.
Honestly, I just want you to finish up the Mario Brothers. So basically,
okay. So I'll do Super Mario World 2.
So Super Mario World 2,
for you. All
right. You know what I mean? So the challenge is accepted. So mine's is No Mercy, completing the world title and another title. Yours is Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
I'm gonna I just got done, and I'm gonna dive back down into this
But
world.
this time, I'm not making you like 100% everything or have everything. Just finish the game.
Yeah, but I'm gonna want to, just for pride purposes, you know.
So that's the challenge.
That's good. We got a nice month ahead of us.
Okay. So that's the challenge, and I guess this is where we say goodbye.
Yeah.
So listen to our podcast. We have several. We have Not a Trekkie, Shell Shock. We have the Morphin Cast. This one, the Game of Rage. We have a weekly podcast, the Get Guessed by That Swear podcast, and the Wrestling Babble podcast we do every week. So follow all of them, like them, subscribe. We got a lot of things to talk about. Follow everything. Mark with the Mic on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch TV, and SoundCloud. All Mark with the Mic. Follow our Facebook pages, the Wrestling Ring page and the Wrestling Babble page. Follow Wrestling Inc. on everything above that I just said, but on Wrestling Inc. And then their WordPress. They have all the links on their WordPress. And shout outs to Mike, our producer. He does everything that makes the podcast sound pretty, and he's also my co-host on the weekly podcast on Guest Master and the Wrestling Babble. Go ahead. Follow everything.
Yeah, you can follow me on Tenacious T, RC Inc. on Twitter. You can also follow me on my regular Instagram of T_DA_tots. That's TOTS. Come to Grand Central, fucking bullshit with me. Anything to stop me from actually working, I'm down for. Always a shout out, especially on this podcast. Shout out to Game On, retro video game store based out on Long Island. You can find them in 2 locations of Smithtown and Miller Place. Shouts out to Tristan, the owner. He very cool guy, very passionate. I've only met a few people in this world that are extremely passionate about retro and nostalgic video games, and this guy definitely is at the top of the list. Such a good guy. Welcomes me with open arms every time I come into the shop. It's literally my first favorite place besides my favorite bar.
There you go.
If that makes, you know what I mean? So shout out to him. Hopefully the next cast we will have him on here.
Okay.
I will talk to him as soon as we establish a date for when this is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And he will be our special guest, and he can put his plug in, basically.
Yep.
So shout out to him.
Yep.
And shout out to Jay, who works there, who does he does modifications, he cleans your consoles, he fixes them. Shout out to him. If you ever go into the Miller Place store and you see this big dude there, that's Jay, get him a green monster and tell him I sent you.
Yeah. I like that. That's cool.
Every time I go in there, I bring him a green monster. He's like, you ain't going to do that. I was like, yeah, bro, but I drink green monsters. So I went and got myself one.
I always have an extra one. They're 2 for $4.
Exactly.
All right.
That man, especially during the pandemic,
Yeah.
came through and fixed like 3 of my consoles. So
Sweet.
Shout out to him. He's a good dude. He's the one that you met when you
Yeah. He was very cool with me. Also, shout outs to the Max. Shout outs to Alvin because we mentioned him on this cast. He was playing Mario World with me. Yeah, we'll find one. I just yell Alvin.
Alvin.
That's what I like do.
Christmas time for you.
That's usually what I just call him.
Alvin's a good dude, man. Shout out to him. I like Alvin.
All right.
Even though he's excluded from Chicken Palm Night.
Yeah, everyone is excluded some. Eventually,
Reynoso just got back in.
Okay, for now.
For now.
All right. Peace out, laters, and always remember, fuck Zordon.
Fuck Zordon.